Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we're gonna go ahead and show you guys another Knull showcase. Now I have showcased Knull in past, but that was quite a while ago, and also this time I do get an opportunity to give shout out to the Grind channel. He's a very active up and coming YouTuber that largely or pretty much entirely covers the game from free-to-play perspective, aside from him kind of ruining his free-to-play streak by winning the giveaway that we did for spring cleaning actually. But he's definitely worth checking out. I will leave a link to his channel in the video description, and whilst I'm at it, check out Evizone. They are the best way to reach out to me. They are a secure messaging platform that's perfect for file transfers. Only thing you have to do is tap on the link in the video description below, try it out for free, enter your username, whatever you want in place of company name, and then your email, your account is going to be made for you, and you're going to be put in touch with me. On top of that, we are currently doing $250 giveaway that's going to be distributed via 25 $10 gift cards that are meant to be used for Summoner Sigils. Even if you have a Summoner Sigil already, you can still take part in it and just use that $10 gift card for renewing your sigil later on. And it's super easy to enter. Just take a screenshot in Marvel Concert Champion showcasing a fight that has happened in Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's kind of like recreating MCU fight in MCOC, and then open your Evizone account and submit your screenshot to Oliverporte. I will leave a link to the giveaway video explaining all the details and any questions that you might have in the video description as well. And we are going to be doing the winner announcement on 9th of May, so you still have several days to enter. It's not too late. Again, misclicked on the wrong button. That being said, let's just jump to the gameplay. It's in a one longer edited clip, so let's enjoy all of it. So we're starting up in some cab EQ. It's very considerate of him as well to put in quite a lot of editing work, and as we all know, Knull is a bit of a ramp-up character where initially you kind of want to get as many living abyss as possible, and then drop your level 1 for shorter fights, or get to level 3 for longer fights. And then when you drop level 2, very good things happen. One of the most underrated aspects about Knull is also lowering opponents' combat power rate by a very significant margin that enables you to be super aggressive. And here we can see if your Knull is Sig 200, it actually gives him quite significant boost for shorter fights, because it allows you to start the fight with like 13 living abyss charges, and that means that basically from the very beginning you can get a very good damage output here. By the looks of it, he's not running Liquid Courage double edge with Knull, so it's also a nice affirmation that you can do it without. But here we can see that from the very start of the fight, even though Knull is a ramp-up character, he can definitely put up very good damage numbers very early on in the fight. And here we have some good montage of nice level 2s that do an absolute heap ton of damage here. So this is from Cav EQ though, so keep in mind his damage is buffed, as you know it is for pretty much most of the champions. But he is a bit of a nuking machine that also has access to quite a lot of regeneration. Combo up node, darkness passives. Okay, combo up node. Which one is that? What does combo up do? No power gain ever. Interesting. What does that do though? It is borderline busted, but either way. Now we have the casual Deadpool fight right here, and this is kind of like Winter Soldier's cousin at this point, because a lot of YouTubers love to test out their fights against this Deadpool at this point. And it's because he has virtually no nodes on him and fairly simple animations, but he does have better AI, and he does have a level 3 active to him. And yeah, he's quite tanky as well. So this is just a basic questing showcase. So as we can see, only thing he basically did is build up to his level 1. At this point he already has 27 living abyss, and that is quite a big difference what I normally get with my like Sig 26 Knull, because I only start with 2 living abyss charges on the opponents, unlike max Sig Knulls. So the thing with Knull is he's perfectly viable unawakened. So this is from Act 7.4, by the way. He's perfectly viable unawakened, and the awakening itself actually does very little. What does a lot is high signature level. So he's one of those champions where you can either rank him up unawakened and he still can put in a ton of work for you, or you want to give him a ton of sig stones and get him very high sig level, because that is when that difference really manifests. And here we are. So he's going up against this Purgatory boss. I believe, I think this is a boss fight where she takes virtually no damage. Oh no, this is heal or hide now. So I do believe this is slightly different. This is heal or hide, where she goes unblockable whenever she does have a regen buff. So fair enough. This is not the boss from 7.4, I think. But still, sig ability converts regen to degen. Right, that is quite awesome. That is another application of that sig. I do not know why it kind of gets stuck there. Might be that my PC is begging for help. But yeah, his sig ability, I'm gonna try and get these clips in here, so these bottom notes here. But yeah, his sig ability is one ability that I pretty much never use myself, where you can convert regeneration buffs into degeneration, which is quite interesting ability for a Cosmic Champion for sure. And this, I assume, is Abyss of Legends, Iron Man Infinity War. And Knull can definitely take quite a quick work with this guy. And we can see that he also definitely regenerates very impressive amount. Now this is going to be up against Venom Pool. This is Paradox increased special damage. Very well. So let's see how he does here. He needs to get some debuffs on this Venom Pool by inflicting parries, by the looks of it. And then he's going to be pretty much ready to go. So he fast forwarded there a bit, which is fine. But now he has 7 Paradox charges, and he's going to go for level 2, which should be quite a spicy level 2 there. 38 damage, 38k damage also in those red numbers. And that level 2 does indeed do quite a ton of damage if you have plenty of armor breaks on the opponent. Paradox debuff potency. So Knull is one of the champions that can benefit from this quite significantly as well, because he does inflict the degens and whatnot. And Knull was surprisingly good option for a lot of safeguard fights as well because of it. I initially didn't really consider that, but also check out that regeneration from a single level 1. That's definitely very, very solid. And then all of that passive damage from a level 1 of all things. And then a heavy attack to finish it off. But yeah, I was saying that Knull actually was one of my MVPs for safeguard meta, because he turned out to be a very, very troublesome defender and also quite a useful attacker with his heavy spam. And now we are back at Iron Man Infinity War in Abyss of Legends. I do believe that this is going to be pretty much a full solo. So he's going to skip the ramp up where he has built up to 72 Living Abyss charges at this point. When I was doing these Abyss fights with my Knull, I typically ended up building slightly higher than 72. I think I went for 80 or 90 charges most of the time. But that is one thing that I personally didn't necessarily overly enjoy using Knull in Abyss, even though he's a fantastic option for Abyss, and especially for that symbiote come out to play Korean challenge. He does kind of put a decision on you. How much are you going to ramp him up, and then you have to decide how many hits you're going to leave to yourself for actually dealing damage. And I think that's more so a testament of how much I dislike that hit charge mechanic there in Abyss, where you have to deal with a limited amount of hits opposed to dealing with limited amount of time, how it is in Labyrinth. I find that system much, much better and much more accurate reflection of damage, because in this way, for instance, even though Carnage, for instance, can have much higher DPS than Captain America Infinity War, but because Captain America Infinity War, you basically just parry heavy, it's only 2-hit heavy, you can do significantly better, for whatever reason, than Carnage would, just because Carnage does have multi-hit special attacks, and he, gets in his combo meter very, very quickly. But that was some impressive level 2 damage. I actually kind of want to rewind that a bit. So I want to see how much damage at level 2 is actually going to do. So he's going for level 2. At this point, he's at 44%, and that a single level 2 takes down that Abyss Iron Man Infinity War to 32%. That is a chunky level 2 there, without a doubt. Also know that he does have Suicide Zone in this clip, and that is exactly how I love to play Knull. If I'm being brutally honest, I personally am not the biggest fan of Knull without Liquid Courage Double Edge Mastery. I know that he still can put in work for a ton of people, and he still has access to regen and all that other good stuff. But for me personally, to kind of fully enjoy this champion, I 100% want to have Liquid Courage Double Edge on. And yeah, that is a full yellow bar finish against an Iron Man Infinity War there. Now we're gonna get to see a fight with no synergies, no recoil 3. At this point, I kind of feel like he's abusing that Iron Man Infinity War. I think this is like the third clip where he's showcasing basically Knull wrecking the guy. And here he appears to have skipped a bit further. But again, it's always reassuring to know that a champion can perform extremely well, even if you don't synergize him up, don't, you know, buff him up to the max. And it's definitely the case with Knull. As, you know, some synergies can help him and I need to have, but I don't think there is a single synergy that's kind of like absolutely mandatory for you to use or run the champion. And here he's going to be going for a nice level 2. And unfortunately not too many crits there, but still plenty of damage. As you can imagine, when you drop like 24k medium crits there, plus all that extra damage and degen and whatnot, has 108 armor breaks on at this point. And yeah, so unfortunately there, that one hits the block, but it's quite a-okay. Still has even more armor breaks that are active. It takes a few hits to the face, not the biggest deal. He needs to quickly hope for that corruption to reactivate before his armor breaks fall off. But since it does, he just needs to get in that level 2 and the fight is going to be over here at this point. I can already smell it. That is 143 armor breaks. That is the most armor breaks I've seen on Knull. I think that is the most armor breaks I've seen. 143 is a crap ton of armor breaks. But hey, again, a nice solo without Liquid Courage Double Edge, without any synergies. Here he's going up against Darkhawk as well. Quickly fast forwarded that ramp up, which is the most tedious part about using the champion, admittedly. But still, again, in reasonable, smaller health pool fights, you don't have to do this. It's just for those super big mega health pools where you have to ramp him up quite crazily. And the cool thing about him is that he can bypass that auto block, because his medium strikes, his heavy strikes, and some of his special attack hits do have true accuracy built in, which shuts down evade and auto block. And I always love when champions do have that ability. It just immediately offers them so much more utility that you can counter evade champions, you know, very easily from the get-go in the fight. It's not about getting to a special attack, maintaining some sort of buff or debuff on opponents. It's just there. And I do like that a lot, where you can definitely benefit from that quite significantly. And yeah, now he's definitely absolutely bullying that Darkhawk without a doubt. That's a definite bully right there. So I think he's going to be building up to level 3 here at this point to make sure that his corruption maintains, which is perfectly fine. Kind of wish that he has ability to bypass miss as well, but it's a-okay. So here, it's actually probably smarter to let corruption fall off for a tiny bit, just because you can get in a few more living abyss, which would have been converted to more and extra armor breaks. But, you know, sometimes there's nothing wrong with playing it safe. And yeah, the Darkhawk is already down halfway, and I'm sure that many of you know that it's not all that easy to do the Darkhawk fight without reversing his regeneration. So without like Human Torch or Void or Captain America Infinity War or something like that, if you're not benefiting from that regen reversal, then Darkhawk can be quite a frustrating fight that does require a very good counter. That is one of the reasons why Knull was such an amazing option for that Arena come out to play challenge, because he did the fights that you typically needed a regen reversal champion for. Just because of the sheer amount of debuffs that he has on, he can pretty much shut down any and all healing throughout the entire fight, and then it just happened to also work against Darkhawk and other tricky matchups. As a Cosmic Champion, he's definitely quite uncharacteristic in a sense that he doesn't actually gain any buffs outside of that unblockable and unstoppable whenever you enter in corruption if your Knull is awakened. But all of his accent is basically on debuffs, which is again much more indicative of a science champion, if anything. So I do like an anomaly type of champions that are in class and don't necessarily have all or most of their characteristic class archetypes. Now here he's throwing in a bit of self-promotion, which is perfectly fine. As I said, I will leave a link to his video, to his channel in the video description. But as I was saying, whenever we have a champion that doesn't fit a class archetype, they typically tend to be quite good. And here we have champions like Omega Red, for instance. Omega Red has nothing to do with big special damage or massive prowesses, and he just adds another level to the mutant class. Or we have Ghost. Ghost has nothing to do with armor ups or power control or heal block, but Ghost is obviously one of the, if not the best champion in the game. And I do enjoy whenever we see kind of deviation from this class archetype roles that champions have. And Mystic class champions like Tigra, for instance, that don't rely on opponents having buffs and things like that necessarily, is also quite refreshing. So more and more examples of champions that are being released in recent years and shy away and kind of abandon that class limits, that cage that Kabam often likes to put champions in, where, oh, we're releasing a tech champion, we need to have an armor up, we need to have a heal block, we need to have these things. And quite often they get the best results when they just do something different. And I like that about champions. And Knull is definitely one of those cases as well, where he's a Cosmic Champion, but there's pretty much no buffs in sight. And that was nice to see. I enjoy that. I like that quite a bit. And this last fight is obviously against Green Goblin. I don't think this is going to be solo. I don't think Knull can solo this fight, but he can do about 50% damage pending how well your fight goes. I personally think he kind of cut his ramp up here maybe a bit short, but that's, you know, perfectly fine. However, who wants to play what champion? It's, you know, always entirely up to them. But you're definitely going to see quite a lot of damage being dealt to this Green Goblin. And, you know, maybe not 1-2 rebuffs definitely is all it takes. But as this fight is playing out, I am just going to start saying, well, I'm going to fast forward first of all to the end, because this fight does take quite a while, because the Green Goblin is a very, very hefty chonker. And here we can see that he's already down to 56%. I think he's going to finish on about 54%, and Knull still being perfectly healthy. So that is basically half of the damage they're done. But yeah, that is going to be it for today's rank 4 champion showcase. Watch the, okay, let's just do this one again. So watch the heals and degen. So he heals for quite substantial amounts, but let's check out the degen. The degen is not doing too poorly either. Right. Anyways, that's it. That's it. Now, so if you do want to submit your own gameplay, then tap on the link in description, and you will be taken to this page where you can easily create your own Evzone account, reach out to me, drop me a message, and potentially submit your own gameplay. And on top of that, do not forget that there is an active giveaway happening on the channel. It's super easy to enter. That is going to be it for now, and I'm going to catch you guys later. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about